We're back then today with a showcase of 4 more broken builds for patch 1.0 in Last Epoch. Thankfully these won't be Warlock builds at all, because that just seems to be on another level in regards to how broken it actually is at the moment, and it is causing a lot of conversation within the community in regards to what should be done about it. The masteries we'll actually cover in this video, they will be the Sorcerer, the Runemaster, the Paladin and the Falconer. We're not using Dive Bomb for Falconer at all, that's why I have included it here. It is a really pretty original setup and an amazing one that we are showing off. The builds that we're actually showing off, they are community builds, so they're builds that have been created by other creators. So the first thing I would say here is, if you actually enjoy this video, if any of the builds look interesting, I will put links to the original videos and the build planners in the description below, so go watch those creators, watch their entire video, and if you enjoyed it, leave a like and a subscribe for them as well. But let's go in, let's start breaking these builds down. The first build we have here is from a YouTube channel called Bigdaddy, and I'll put a link to his video in the description below. This setup is a spark charge mana stacking sorcerer. It's all about applying spark charges for insane damage alongside making use of a secret unique called the Fractured Crown for a massive amount of damage reduction due to your huge mana pool. In the gameplay footage we can see he's currently running 500 corruption with just over 1000 health, which is absolutely bonkers, and he's also posted an update where he's now up to 900 corruption, which is just amazing. Gear wise then, he's using the Fractured Crown. This provides up to 50% of damage tilt to your mana before health. For the main hand, he's using the Dragorath's Dagger. This provides a chance to cast Lightning Blast on hit with Frostclaw, and increased crit strike chance for Lightning Blast based on your lightning resistance. The amulet is Strong Mind. This offers a nice amount of mana and helps with stun avoidance. The catalyst, they're using Fragment of the Enigma. This massively buffs the Spark Charge ailment, and then the final unique they're using is the Storm Carved Testament Relic. This offers mana, lightning damage and lightning penetration as well. The passive skill tree has 54 points going into Sorcerer tree, 31 into Spellblade and 8 into Runemaster. There's heavy emphasis put on lightning damage, mana and also attack speed for this setup, and one of the nodes in the Spellblade tree that's really important, gives a chance to apply even more stacks of Spark Charge. In regards to the skills they're using, the primary skill is Mana Strike. The setup used gives 100% spark charge chance, it grants you mana, has increased attack speed, and it's a ranged auto targeting skill, but it still has the melee tag on it as well, so you get the bonuses from melee tagged uniques in gear. The second skill is Frostclaw. This is set up so it has a chance to auto proc when they use Mana Strike, and each individual projectile on Frostclaw counts as a hit in order to maximise the number of spark charge stacks that will be added with this. The next specialised skill here is Lightning Blast. This will automatically be proccing via the main hand unique, and it will provide us with an additional 25% damage reduction via Lightning Aegis, as well as helping add more spark charge stacks as well. The Flame Ward skill will provide more damage reduction. With the setup they're using, they have 3 charges with this, which means if they actually stagger them, then it allows them close to 100% uptime on the damage reduction portion of this skill. I've never seen anyone do this before, really pretty amazing. The final skill we have here is a simple one, it's Enchant Weapon. This is used to offer attack speed, which helps out with Mana Strike and also added lightning damage as well. Overall then, this is an extremely interesting build. It's amazing to see someone with a build that has only around about 1000 health pushing close to 1000 corruption, so they're not making use of ward like so many builds at the moment that seem like they have to. Yeah, this is just absolutely awesome. The next build we have here is by a great long time Last Epoch player, it's Perry the Pig. His build is an amazing Paladin setup, it makes use of Healing Hands and Rive, and with it he can get close to 20,000 ward, essentially allowing him to face tank bosses all day. What allows him to do this is by stacking attack speed and healing effectiveness along with the Healing Hands skill and also Rive as well. The endgame setup that he does show off is pretty gear intensive, but that is to be expected with the results that you are seeing. So starting off, I will just mention that you need at least one gear piece or a fix within your build that converts your current health to ward for this particular setup to work. For uniques, he's using the Peak of the Mountain. This provides a huge amount of critical strike chance as well as plus 4 points to Healing Hands via legendary potential. You've got Falcon Fists next, which is a rogue unique, but it's funny that it does work here, but it does. This gives them increased attack speed and melee fire damage, Atera's Path, this is healing effectiveness, health and movement speed. This is normally a primalist unique, so it's really interesting to see the uniques he is using. The shield slot, actually this is probably a sentinel shield as well. This is a bulwark of the Last Abyss, and when you use this you get an awesome melee crit damage buff when your health goes over the 75% threshold, and this has happened constantly due to the health to ward conversion that he's got within his kit. The belt slot is the Shattered Chains. This offers a nice boost to melee damage, and lastly the ring slot is the Siphon of Anguish, and this pairs perfectly with the last unique that we just looked at. The passive point allocation in this setup is 30 points into Sentinel, 5 into Void Knight to unlock Volatile Reversal, 1 into Forge Guard for some block chance, and then 77 into Paladin. The focus on your passives will be on healing effectiveness, as this gives you both healing and also flat damage with this setup as well. The first specialised skill we have here is Healing Hands. This is set up so it will generate ward, and this is what gives it insane 20k ward numbers. It's also set up so that it costs 0 mana and it's converted to a fire melee attack as well. The next specialised skill is Rive. This is used to buff and proc Healing Hands with the third strike on it removed, so this makes it more of a support skill for Healing Hands rather than a separate damage skill. The third skill is Holy Aura, which is a pretty simple one. This is used to boost fire damage, attack speed, crit chance, and also proc the Flame Burst AoEs. We then have Volatile Reversal. This is using the regular setup for this, with the Void Rifts will provide you with a ton of extra damage, as well as make the affected enemy take extra damage as well. And the final skill that he's specialised into this is Sigils of Hope. The setup here will generate sigils on kill, and these will boost your damage as well as your health regen. So Perry did mention in the video there are a few bugged mechanics with this, so with patch 1.1 this will no doubt see some changes. The ward numbers probably won't be as crazy, but even if you can get between 5 and 10k ward, that would be pretty awesome as well. So even after 1.1, I'm pretty sure this will still be a great build. Build number 3 here, this is by BinaQc. This is a glass cannon exploding ballista Falconer build. I'll just mention very quickly here that with this build there was a post on Reddit that someone had a seizure triggered by this build from the visual effects. I'm not sure if that was genuine or not, but if you are sensitive to this you might want to skip this particular build and jump to the next one, and that's not a joke at all. The build then is a true glass cannon one. It's all about sacrificing your defence and going all in on screen wide exploding ballistas. You would use Silver Shroud when you want to dodge specific attacks. This gives you a 100% dodge rate for the next attack, so you need to be very careful how you use this. Very high risk this particular setup, but you can see from the footage we have in the background here, this is currently at 900 corruption and he's completely melting bosses, so another amazing one. The uniques used here are dual wield Apogee of Light Swords. These provide +6 to ballistas as they are converted to cold and their minions as well. We have Death Rattle for ballista crit damage multiplier, Peak of the Mountain for huge amounts of crit chance that your ballistas inherit. Woven Flesh gives 100% critical strike avoidance, which in turn gives your ballistas additional crit damage via your passive tree. Cradle of the Erased for block chance, and this is converted to Glance and Blow. You have Foot of the Mountain for mana cost reduction, and then you have Melvern's Wit for increased ballista damage and also dexterity as well. That is a really important stat with this setup. The passive point allocation here is 31 points into Rogue, 8 into Blade Dancer, 8 into Marksman, and then 66 into Falconer. The focus is really on dexterity. This increases the ballista's damage and AoE size when they explode. Within the Falconer tree you can also get another stack of Silver Shroud every 10 seconds when you cast ballistas, so that really helps out with survivability. The primary skill then is your exploding ballistas, of course. These will inherit the crit chance for 100% crit rate. They're set up for cold damage and they'll explode when they expire or are destroyed, and as you can see from the gameplay footage, the explosion is screen wide AoE, and that's based on your dexterity for the size of the AoE. He's then using Decoy. This is converted to cold, so it will actually shred cold resistance, allowing the ballista explosions to do even more damage. Decoy also has armor shred on it as well. The Falconer skill provides additional armor shred, and you've also got that huge 16% kill threshold on it as well, which is great for bosses. Dive Bomb here then isn't used as an offensive skill like all the other setups that we normally see. This is mainly used for regaining mana and for even more armor shred. And then finally we have Smoke Bomb. This provides another stack of Silver Shroud, which allows us to dodge our next hit. Most definitely not a hardcore viable build. I'd love to see someone just going full out on Glass Cannon, and the smart option and the smart way of using Silver Shroud so that you can go for high damage and have a reactive defensive build, almost like a Dark Souls of builds. Really awesome to see. The final build we have here is by a creator called TonyBingGaming. In the last Broken Builds video I actually made a comment about his accent, and it either confused some people, upset them, or just flat out caused them to completely lose their mind. Instead, in this video I'll just say that he most definitely doesn't look like a poker playing porn star hitman with an addiction to Lego. The build that we're showing off for him is a Frostclaw Frostbite Runemaster, has a ton of survivability with able to get over 10,000 ward without using any bug mechanics as well, and it can get up to 1,000 stacks of Frostbite. Gear wise, we're using the Frozen Ire Unique. This has got tier 7 mana cost reduction on it, and it allows you to spam Frostclaw for 0 mana cost. This is exceptionally important. The Frostbite Shackles, these provide a ton of Frostbite chance as well as ward retention per point of uncapped cold resistance. And then the Snowdrift Boots, these provide with this setup around 260% damage penetration for Frostbite, so they really up the damage on it. The passive point allocation here is 20 points into Mage, 19 into Sorcerer, 68 into Runemaster, and then 6 into Spellblade. So the point allocation is all about buffing cast speed, cold damage, and damage over time, and making use of an amazing 7-point bonus within the Runemaster tree that converts your Armor Shred chance to Frostbite chance. The primary skill that's used here is Frostclaw. This will also autocast Elemental Nova as well as Ice Barrage, and it's also set up so that each individual projectile counts as an individual hit, and this is what allows you to get the ton of Frostbite stacks with it. Elemental Nova then will be autocast when you use Frostclaw. This will provide a ton of additional cold AoE damage, and it also generates ward on hit as well. The next specialisation is Runic Invocation. This will be used to proc Rowwind's Frostguard. This gives a burst of ward and also a 30% damage reduction shield, and with this setup it will have 100% uptime, so amazing for survivability. The fourth skill is Flame Rush. This is converted to ice to easily allow us to cast the Rowwind's Frostguard invocation, as this gives you Ice, Fire, Ice on your bar, and this will also give us additional ward and damage reduction shortly after we use it. The final skill is Ice Barrage. As we mentioned earlier, this is automatically procced by Frostclaw. It has a 100% chance to pierce, it will add 2 stacks of Frostbite on hit, and it has an insane amount of attack speed, so it really helps ramp up the Frostbite stacks. In the last Broken Builds video we had, out of the different builds you looked at, the one by Tony Bing was my favourite, and he's done it again. The guy is a complete genius, and you should most definitely subscribe to him. So that's 4 more Broken Builds for patch 1.0 in Last Epoch. At the moment it looks like the developers are actually contemplating what to do in regards to these builds, because their initial intent was not to actually nerf anything, but there are some builds that are just insanely overperforming to the fact that it's making content trivial, so not sure what they will actually do going forward. Let me know what you think they should actually do about it in the comments below anyway, and thanks for tuning in for this one. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.